the great Edgar Allan Poe, his poem, The Raven. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over my quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as someone gently rapping on my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, "tapping at my chamber door, only this, and nothing more." Ah, distinctly I remember, it was in that bleak December, and each separate dying amber wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I had sought to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels named Lenore, nameless here, forevermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rusting of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before, so that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door, some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. This it is, and nothing more." Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Sir," said I, "or maiden truly, your forgiveness I implore. But the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came a-rapping, and so faintly that you came a-tapping, tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. And then I opened wide the door. Darkness there, and nothing more. Deep into the darkness peering, long I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token, and the only word that spoken was the whispered word, "Lenore." This I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word, "Lenore." Merely this, and nothing more. Back into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning, soon again I heard a tapping, somewhere louder than before. "Surely," said I, "surely that is something at my window's lattice. Let me see then, where that is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind, and nothing more." Open here I flung the shutters. Then, with my flirt and flutters, in these stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Not the least obeisance made he, not a minute stop or stayed he, but with mien and lore of lady perched above my chamber door, perched upon a bust of Pallas just above my chamber door, perched and sat, and nothing more. Then this ebony bird beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore. "Thou thy crest be shorn and shaven, thou," I said, "art sure no craven, ghastly grim and ancient raven, wandering from the night's shore? Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore." Quoth the raven, "Nevermore." Much I marveled this ungainly fall to hear discourse of plainly. Thou it answers little meaning, little relevance it bore. For we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door, bird or beast upon the sculptured bust above this chamber door, with such name as Nevermore? But the raven sitting lonely on the palace bust spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word he did outpour. Nothing further than he muttered, not a feather than he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, "Other friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before." Then the bird said, "Nevermore." Startled at the stillness broken by reply so aptly spoken, "Doubtless," said I, What it uttered is the only stock in store, caught from some unhappy master whom unmerciful disaster followed fast and followed faster, till his song one burden bore, till the dirge of his hope that melancholy burden bore, of never, nevermore. But the raven still beguiling all my fancies into smiling, straight I wheeled of cushioned seat in front of bird and bust and door, then upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself to linking fancy unto fancy thinking what this ominous bird of yore, what this grim, ungainly, ghastly gaunt of ominous bird of yore, meant by croaking nevermore? This I sat engaged in guessing, but no syllabus expressing, to the follow whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. Whew! This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease reclining, on the cushion's velvet lining that the lamplight gloated o'er, but the whose velvet violet lining with the lamplight gloating o'er shall be pressed, nevermore. Then, methought, the air grew denser, perfumed from an unseen censer, swung by seraphim whose footfalls twinkled on the tufted floor. Wretch, I cried, thy God hath let thee, by these angels he hath sent thee, respite, and nepenthe from the memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh quaff, this kind nepenthe of forgotten, this lost Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, whether tempered scent, or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore, desolate yet all undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, on this home by horror haunted, tell me truly, I implore, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore, quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, by the heaven that bent above us, by the God whose we both adore, tell this soul with sorrow laden, if within this destined Aden, it shall claps a sainted maiden, whom the angels named Lenore. Claps a rare and radiant maiden, whom the angels named Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. By that word, our sign of parting, bird or fiend, I shrieked, upstarting, get thee back into the tempest of the night's unplatinum shore. Leave no black palm as a token of that lie thy soul hath spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quiet the bust above my door. Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from out my door. Quoth the raven, nevermore. And that raven, never flitting, still is sitting, on the pallid bust of Pallas just above my chamber door. And his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him streaming throws his shadow on the floor. And my soul, from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor, shall be lifted nevermore. Edgar Allan Poe, genius.